Hey guys, been a while. I'm on a quick break from work, um, and I've been also watching videos on basically how to do Adobe bricks. My neighbor's pretty good at them, so I'll probably be hitting him up to learn more. But I think I want to do the outhouse using Adobe bricks so I can practice with some Adobe bricks. Another thing I want to learn coming up here for spring. I've been really taking some time deep diving because it's been a wee bit chilly. But winter months. I said it in the last video, I say it again. Anybody who's designing a power system, base it off of winter months. Not just power consumption during the winter, because for those of us who live full time in an RV, your furnace is constantly running. I ain't gonna say constantly, but for the most part out here during the evenings it's running. And one thing I never did was went to check out how much power the furnace actually draws, right? And it's not a crazy amount like a heater, of course not, but yo, it will impact your what's going on. So the RV has been surviving off the pec rind, so it'll get low, but again, because we got a lot of power going in, we're okay. But where the struggle is happening is in my office. As you all know, I have a 12-volt system and I have the 48-volt system, and I have to go in between each one because one would die and the other one would be ready. And that's what it's been like this winter, especially after I hooked up the Starlink, because Starlink normally pulls 90 watts, but one of the things that I just discovered is that when the temperature drops to a certain degree and it gets really cold, I guess the Starlink satellite or the receiver thing has this capability where it'll kick on and it'll create some heat, thinking that it needs to melt snow, or sometimes it'll do it to melt ice, because when the morning dew comes up and it's still cold, it freezes on top of there. And when that kicks on, man, does that pull some power, at least an additional 100 watts. And that's something that I didn't think about or consider. And so basically overnight, the Starlink would basically deplete the battery system. Now, of course, unplugging it probably just be the best bet until we're ready to use the internet again. That's kind of basically the way that we've been doing it. I hooked it back up to the RV because some things that my wife be doing late night. She's been designing, a curriculum and different things of that nature. And she's been working really hard on that kind of stuff while homeschooling. So I usually keep the internet hooked up because she's researching and really, really putting that thing together. Now, I don't know when she's going to make a video on this stuff and if she's going to share it or not. I don't know. So I say all that to say that this blessing couldn't have came at a better time. Yes, this is a sponsored video, and one that I am extraordinarily happy to do. Next to Ogre and some of the this one I have been looking forward to because I have been so curious about their products. I've been seeing and hearing nothing but great things from any of my Homestead homies and friends and people who've had experience with this company. And I am so glad to have the opportunity to be able, that they chose me to be able to test this out, and that they agreed to my content being, they know me, it being raw, upfront, and truthful. And that is WattCycle battery. So yep, we're gonna go ahead, unbox this guy, and I'm gonna be hooking it up to the 48-volt system. Now, I wanted to wait because I'm waiting for my cutoff switches to come. So I had to get a new solar disconnect switch, because the one I had, that plastic one, the wire kept slipping out and then it ended up breaking. I already have the battery disconnect switch. So we're going to be trying to hook up all of that today, and just cannot wait to go ahead and get this 48-volt battery tested. So once we're done with work, we're going to get into that. First and foremost, this thing is massive. I was not expecting for it to be this size. I don't know what I was expecting. Holy cow. Oh, moly donut shop. Holy moly donut shop. Okay, I'll admit, I'm a little overwhelmed. Holy cow. 100 amp BMS, 520 watt hour battery. One of these is equivalent to more than 4 of the 100 amp hour batteries I got. And just remember all the issues I was having before with you have to have the light batteries in order to match so you don't have BMS issues. I was just running into so many problems, and I ain't gonna lie, I'm a little overwhelmed. This thing is massive, and now it's like when I set this up over there, I'm definitely gonna go ahead and set it up on this table. But we can get into it. So as you can see, the battery come with all the hardware and everything else you need. Then of course it comes with your cables. Now some of you might say these cables aren't super duper thick. Remember, 48 volts ain't pushing a lot through the cables, right? It's not a lot of amps going through it, so you don't have to worry about it heating up, and you ain't got to have the cables massively thick. But then you notice if you get anything regarding 12 volt, super thick, sometimes even like doubled up. And that's the reason why, based on what I've been learning and learned so far. But WattCycle, listen, all right, wow. So, some things to note. The quality of this thing is excellent. Not only is it heavy, but it is built with some very, very good material. Buttons and everything. So, oh, I hit a button and it came on. As I was saying, I think this build quality is excellent. It feels good. It feels sturdy. It doesn't feel cheap. And biggest thing, Smart Edition. It's got Bluetooth too. The more ways you have to monitor your batteries and to monitor your systems and control them, the better. One of the things that I struggle with, even concerning my 12 volt system, is that unless I'm using a battery that has its own Bluetooth to basically, give me the information I need about it, I don't really know how well it's doing, how well the charge is, right? But then when you have batteries like this one that you can just hook up to Bluetooth or connect your phone, based on the wattage coming in, it'll tell you how long it's going to take to charge. It's going to tell you exactly where it's at. And it can also give you the information concerning the BMS, the condition of the cells, you name it, right? Living off grid, that's important to us. To be quite honest, we need that. For troubleshooting, and then not only that, but this is just another thing that says that they put some oomph in their product. Also comes with this plug here, the Ethernet cable. And of course, it comes with all of your screws and everything else you need in order to attach, of course, your wiring and attach it to other server rack batteries, as well as being able to attach it to your system there. And then, of course, the rack hardware came in. I don't know if it's supposed to be like this on purpose, but I don't know if you can see it, but it's kind of bent. You see that? Bent here. Both of them kind of came bent like that way. Like I said, I don't think it's intentional, but the fact that they're both bent in the same place, and then you can tell right here that there was some impact that was had. I don't know how well this camera is at macro or getting up a little bit close, but I'm trying to see if you can see that. That's the only thing that came in damaged. I went ahead and inspected the whole unit, and I didn't see any issues with that. So thank God, But hey, minor. All right, so I'm sitting here going through the manual, and this thing is explaining everything in detail, which is great, which I'm definitely going to make sure I go through before I hook this up. But what's nice is if you look at this, right, And this is exactly what the screen looked like when I turned it on. And the first thing I saw was pack, and I was like, what in the world is that? So based on this manual, that screen can display everything from looking at your cells, the condition, voltage, the alarm, charts, product information, you name it, everything right there, right? And as I said before, any battery that basically can talk to you and tell you about what's going on, the better and the more money it's worth. The easier it is to troubleshoot and fix. All right, so one of the things I learned that when it comes down to these types of batteries, it's really important to make sure that you understand the charge voltage, because you're going to have to go up there to your all-in-one inverter there and make sure you set the settings just right to make sure that it's allowing for the right voltages to come in to charge your battery and for discharge. And that's major also, which is the reason why I think it's very important to get a really good charge controller. One that's definitely easy to operate, and the manual is very good and straightforward. One of the things I can say, as you heard me say it before, a Ninja is not so great with that. Sorry, YouTube. That right there was the unboxing of the WattCycle new server mount battery. This thing so far is pretty big and pretty awesome. But hey, look out for the video where we go ahead and get this thing hooked up and hooked to our 48-volt system. I think you're gonna like it. So far, I like it. Good build quality, good service, good warranty. And by the way, don't forget to look down in the description where you can go ahead and look at that discount code. And guess what? You can get 6% off on WattCycle website. So with that, that is it for me. I'm gonna go ahead and wrap up my work day. And who knows, I might pull the camera back out and start doing some more recording, because we got a lot of cleaning up and different things we need to do around the property, around the yard, especially trying to help keep it tidy in here. So with that, see you guys next time, YouTube. Bye-bye.